I put out a community post for Elden Ring asking what everyone's favourite build type was, and after 12,000 votes, 47% of people said Arcane Bleed builds. There are a lot of people within the community running the Rivers of Blood, and I'm not saying it's not a great weapon, it's actually amazing to run. But there are so many other options out there. I've covered build after build on the channel, and I want to show you a couple of builds briefly in this video, just so that you get an idea of what other build types are capable of. Because there is a lot of variety in Elden Ring, and I feel people just push it to the side because so many people say that Arcane Bleed builds are the best. And because ever since Arcane was fixed in patch 1.03, the Rivers of Blood has become incredibly popular. So just quickly before we get any further into the video, if you are not currently subbed to the channel, make sure you do sub, turn notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, all support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to support me further as a creator, then check out the links in the description, and let's get into it. So one of the builds I want to show you is one that's not really that popular, however it is incredibly powerful. So we are at the Isolated Merchant's Shack over in Caelid, and if I quickly show you the build, I am running the Antspur Rapier. I then have the Dragon Communion Seal with any armour of my choice. I'm running the Blide's Armour set and the Black Wolf Mask. Then I've got a Strength Heirloom Talisman on. I have the Ritual Sword to raise my attack power when my health is full. I'm running the Carian Filigreed Crest to bring down the FP consumed by my skills. And I'm running Flock's Canvas Talisman. In my Flask of Wondrous Physic, I have the Cerulean Hidden Tier and the Strength Not Crystal Tier. So the main focus will be the Dragon Communion Seal, however we can also use the Antspur Rapier because I am going to be using this build to proc a Scarlet Rot Build up. So if we come out of the shack, all I'm going to do is drink my flask, and then with this dinosaur dog thing, whatever you want to call it over here, if I just use the Rotten Breath Dragon Incantation, I have procced Scarlet Rot, and the good thing about Scarlet Rot is I now don't have to touch this enemy. I can just keep running away, and Scarlet Rot will stay procced for 3 minutes. So he's just going to tick and tick and tick until eventually in a moment he will die. It's got a very nice ticking damage. There you go, he's just died. And I haven't had to do anything besides use the Rotten Breath Dragon Incantation. If I then just use my flask and I proc Golden Val, I'm going to get a damage increase from Golden Val. But if I come over to the same enemy and I do jumping attacks, providing he doesn't eat me, you will see that I have now built up the Scarlet Rot. So for an entire 3 minutes, just using this weapon alone, he is going to tick for, what is it? It's about 23 damage per tick. And you'll see his health bar slowly depleting, but I can now just run around and do whatever I want. And this works on bosses as well. I mean, he's absolutely battered that merchant. I feel bad for him. Even after a while, this guy is going to slowly back up and go back to his sort of territory. But he's still going to tick the entire time he is going back. I mean, he's now charging at me, and it's a very weird animation, kind of scary. But look at the ticking damage. He's just about to die any moment now. And there we go, that is the end of him. That's one of the reasons I love Scarlet Rot, and if they do ever nerf the Rivers of Blood, then these are kind of like backup builds that you can run. So switching back to the Rivers of Blood, I've got it at +9, then I'm running an Uchi-Katana in my offhand with Seppuku, just so that we get all of the blood loss build up, and I've put the Occult Affinity on it so that the Arcane scaling is B tier. Then we have the armour, and instead of Blide's Armour, if I put on Raptor's Black Feathers, because that's going to strengthen your jump attacks, instead of the Black Wolf Mask or any mask in the game, you can run the White Mask because that is going to boost your damage when there is blood loss in the area. And that also stacks with Lord of Blood's Exaltation, so they do the same thing and they work together. The Shard of Alexander will greatly boost the attack power of your skills. The Rotten Winged Sword Insignia will greatly raise the attack power with successive attacks. And then Marika's Sword Seal will boost your arcane and other stats by +5 each. Then in the Flask of Wondrous Physics, Cerulean Hidden Tier, Green Burst Crystal Tier, so that you are eliminating FP consumption for the first 10 seconds of a fight, and so that you are also boosting your stamina recovery speed. So with this build, and the reason people use it is all because of the Corpse Piler skill. If you come up to any enemy and you press your skill button, it does a 2 combo attack, and that follows up from a 2 into a 3, and then you can use a slam so that it's a 6-hit combo. And with the Rotten Wingsword insignia, it's going to deal more damage the more hits you land. With Lord of Blood's Exaltation, it's going to cause blood loss, so you'll get a better attack power. And it's a really strong build. A lot of people have used this to essentially cheese a load of bosses. And obviously there are resistances. Some bosses will be very resistant against haemorrhage or blood loss. But for the majority of enemies in the game, this is a really powerful weapon to use. So I feel if there is anything the developers are going to nerf, it will be the Rivers of Blood. And whilst I absolutely love it, I know a lot of other people do, I just feel there's some really cool builds that people just push to the side, all because of this weapon. So another build I really enjoy on this game is my Super Mega Double Bonk build, and that is going to be using the Giant Crusher. Then in the offhand I've got the Prelate's Inferno Crozier, and you'll see that I have put the heavy affinity on both of them, and I'm also running Royal Knight's Resolve. Also in my offhand, I run a seal, can be any seal, because you're just going to be using Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Veil. Then I've had to take a piece of armor off so that I'm at a heavy load because my endurance is not that high, and these weapons together weigh a total of 50. I've got an heirloom on to raise my strength. I have the Claw Talisman to pair with the Raptor's Black Feathers for a lot of extra attack power in my jump attacks. Then the Ritual Sword to raise my attack power when my health is at maximum, and Radagon Soreseal because it will boost your strength and 3 other stats by +5 each. Then with the Flask of Wondrous Physic I have the Strength Not Crystal tier, and then you do need the Winged Crystal tier because you don't want to be a heavy load or overloaded, and the Winged Crystal tier will increase your equip load, the maximum end of it, by 350%. So this one takes a lot more to buff it up, but if I drink the flask, then I use Golden Veil, then the Flame Grant Me Strength, then switch over and two-hand the Crozier, switch back and put Royal Knight's Resolve on the Heavy Crusher, or the Giant Crusher, it one-taps a lot of enemies in the game. And even when it comes to some of the bigger, more hefty enemies with large health pools, I've just dealt over 14,000 damage in one attack to this poor guy. So this is a really strong build as well. You know, that's a move I've never ever seen. And I've used this build quite a bit. If I just right trigger, I do a front flip. But anyway, without the distractions, what we've done is looked at a couple of different builds outside of your typical Arcane bleed. And the main reason I've done this is because I have a feeling they are going to nerf Rivers of Blood very soon. Even if it's just the skill. I don't think they will nerf Arcane as a whole, because they've only just fixed it. They might do a little bit of rebalancing if they feel like it, but with a build like this, with the Scarlet Rot, there's Poison builds, Frost builds, Lightning builds, Faith builds. There are so many different ones to choose from, spells and all that sort of stuff. I just don't see how Arcane Bleed is the absolute best. I know it's really good, but if you spec properly into other builds, you can make them just as powerful, if not even more. But that's my opinion on Arcane Bleed builds. Let me know yours in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed it.